Are you ready to double your real estate sales and grow your business like never before? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Real Estate Matters, hosted by Matt Curtis, leader of the #1 real estate team in Alabama for the last 6 years, with over 8,000 homes sold and more than 4,000 five-star reviews. Matt's proven strategies speak for themselves. Ready to double your sales with expert strategies? Let's dive in. This is Real Estate Matters. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Matters podcast. I'm your host, Clark Dunn, here with Matt Curtis and Matt Curtis Real Estate.
Well, just got back from Washington, D.C., moving my daughter in. I got a story that I've talked about thick skin before and how important that is in real estate and just in life, but just had a story and experience that I wanted to share that I think would be helpful to everyone.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the story about your Uber driver that you had.
Yeah, so my oldest daughter, Callie, I went down. I moved her into Washington, D.C. She's going to be up there for a few months, and she just graduated. It's my oldest daughter. I spent the weekend with her. We visited sites and restaurants and just had some really good father-daughter time. It was an amazing time. But I get to the point where I drop her off for the last time. Actually, what I thought was going to be the last time. I mean, being able to have one more dinner, but I thought it was going to be the last time. And yeah, I don't cry very often, but sometimes these moments just come and you just don't know, you just can't anticipate it. So I was bawling, like I was crying. And so I leave her at her place, I get an Uber, and I'll always remember this because the lady was so sweet and just the moment that I was in. And so I get in and this sweet, like, it's almost like an angelic face. Like she was just great. She could tell something was going on. She had her cross dangling down and just like really sweet eyes. And she positioned her mirror back and was like, "Is everything okay?" And I kind of explained to her, "Hey, I'm moving my daughter in, just, this last time." And so she's super sweet. But we ended up having a conversation. I started asking a little bit about me. Hey, I'm from Alabama. We've got a real estate team down there. And she's like, "Oh, like, I'm interested in getting into real estate," and asking some questions. Like often happens. Anytime they find out what I'm doing, "Oh, hey, there's a lot of people that are interested in getting into real estate." And so this lady, I don't know her whole story, but she migrated here from Ethiopia. And so she was asking me, "Hey, what do I need to do to get a real estate license? What do I need to do to be successful?" I was like, "Okay, so I don't know everything in Washington, D.C., but you're going to have to go take a course, take a test." I said, "But the most important thing is you need to find a brokerage or a team that provides two things. They need to be able to provide good leads to you. You need people to be able to talk to and work with, and they need to be able to provide good training for you." I said, those are really two important things as you look for a real estate company. And that's even more important than all the license stuff. You got to do it. But those are the things that you need to be looking for. And I said, for you though, where a lot of people fail is, they don't prospect and they're afraid of rejection and all these kind of things. And she's like, "Oh, not an issue for me." She said, in my country, we're used to getting rejection. That's just part of it. It's like, it's not personal. And we start having this conversation. She's like, but in the US, like, people take it really personal. Like for me, like, I can make those calls. I can sell. She's like, sales is just natural where I'm from. And I was like, that's a really astute point, because somehow we've taken sales out of our society and a lot of people don't know how to do that. Like in school, we teach compliance. We don't teach negotiation skills. And I could go on and on about that, but in her culture, she's learned that. And she's like, she said this, so she's like, "I have thick skin." I was like, "I'm so glad you said that." Cause I talk to our agents all the time about this. Like, if you sell 5 out of 100 people that you talk to, you're making $100,000. But you're getting told no 95 times. It's not because it's personal or, people just don't move every single day. But I was telling her, like, but people in America, oftentimes they take it personal. And she's like, "Yeah, not from where I'm from. We don't take it personal." And and I don't know if she said this or I said this, and I'm probably going to make some people mad. I might get some people to unsubscribe from me at this point, but I will say in general, and I'm saying this to myself as well, we Americans, we've gotten soft when it comes to this skill. We've gotten really, really soft. And I'm saying that like almost trying to look in the mirror because of some of the things that bother me shouldn't bother me. And she said this too. She went on to say, the problems that we have in America, they're not real problems. And, I say that, and I've said that to some of our agents. And now, like, I've got some agents that have had some really tough challenges. I've had some tough challenges in my life, but there's been tough challenges. But what I'll say is we make our challenges in America much bigger than they are oftentimes. And so I think that's really like, that's an encouragement to everybody to think beyond. And one of the things I told my team, I was telling this story to some of our agents, is sometimes we get so consumed in our own problems. I do it. We all do it. The solution for that is to go serve somebody else. Like when I go over to Central America, Guatemala or Nicaragua, wherever I go, and build a house and build a home for somebody, I forget about all of my problems. They all go away because I'm seeing, this family that's living on a dirt floor in a shack where the rain's coming down on them. And they're trying to do their homework and they don't have keys to the doors. And so, if you're a female and there's no keys and, living in tight quarters, that's a bad situation for a lot of these females. And you're living on dirt floors and getting parasites and just, I see all these struggles. But I see all these smiles too. I see a lot of smiles that I don't see just walking around town, even in Huntsville. And so it's challenging to us as Americans. Like we have so much, but sometimes we get so absorbed in our own problems, we got to look outside. And so when we look outside of our problems look a whole lot smaller. And I told my agents, I was like, hey, I'm going to be going to Guatemala again this year. If people want to come along and build a home with us, they can. But you don't have to go to Guatemala. Like we're downtown right now. You can come downtown. You can go across the street. Just find somebody else's problems. Like if you're feeling really weighed down by your problems, like go find somebody else to serve that has bigger problems, and it'll put yours in perspective. You'll feel so much lighter as well. And so that's my biggest, encouragement for everybody that's listening is, get outside of your own problems and serve somebody else. It'll make you feel better. And then really work on and part of that will be, working on thick skin. Because if you want to be in real estate and be successful, you got to have that thick skin. And the bigger that your goals are, the more challenges are going to come your way. What's that saying? I think somebody said, more money, more problems. The more success, more money, or whatever it may be that you have in your life, but more challenges that are going to happen. I mean, you look at the most successful people and you think, oh, they got everything in the world. Well, they got a lot of challenges in their life. And so we talked about personal development in one of the podcasts. You got to get better as an individual as well. Like invest in yourself so that you can handle the challenge. It's not, hey, the challenge comes, I handle it, and then I get better. It's like, you got to get better in preparation for that challenge.
Yeah, and I think it all kind of goes back to the conversation we've had in the past, talking about finding your why. Like, if your why is big enough, you'll find the way to do it. Oh, yeah. And I think, that conversation with your Uber driver is a clear example of that. But I think this, the story is such it ties into so many things we've already talked about. Kind of that, having the thick skin, finding your why, and just serving others. And we've talked about all three of those things in many different episodes in many different ways. But I appreciate you being here. I think moments like that, especially in the midst of your busy weeks leading up to it, and having that story and having that interaction with the Uber driver does go a long way, and it allows us to kind of share this to people that are listening. We'll be sure to have everything in the episode notes. But I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
That's a wrap for this episode of Real Estate Matters, helping you double your sales and build a thriving business. But real success is about impact. That's why Matt's team has built over 140 homes for families in Central America, changing lives beyond real estate. Loved what you heard? Subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a fellow agent. For more expert insights, visit mattcurtisrealestate.com or find us on social media at Matt Curtis Real Estate. See you next time on Real Estate Matters.